There are over 10 million online searches each month for information regarding domestic violence in just the US and Canada. Anyone, regardless of gender, sexuality, race, or religion, can experience abuse. Domestic abuse isn't always physical violence. It can be emotional, verbal, even financial. It can feel isolating and hopeless. For victims, it often takes several attempts to escape an abusive partner. There are many reasons victims are often afraid to reach out for help, including embarrassment or denial, or fear of losing their children or pets. But if you're experiencing abuse, you're not alone. It's not your fault. Help is here for you. domesticshelters.org is the leading domestic violence online resource where abuse victims and survivors can find everything they need to take steps towards safety, all in one place. With domesticshelters.org's searchable database of domestic violence programs and shelters in the US and Canada, anyone can find a nearby trained advocate who cares, along with support and resources. Victims of abuse may not be ready to connect with an advocate yet, but with domesticshelters.org's comprehensive library of relevant and high-quality content, it's simple to find information that can help change lives for the better. Domestic violence professionals and advocates rely on domesticshelters.org for ways to better support their local communities through free online expert-led training, award and grant programs, donation tools, and other powerful resources. The profound impact of domestic violence hurts everyone. Victims lose hope, children suffer lifelong trauma, communities are permanently damaged. That's why millions of people come to domesticshelters.org to get the answers and help that they need, and why 8 out of 10 domesticshelters.org visitors share their newfound knowledge with others, exponentially increasing public awareness of abuse. Your support helps connect those millions of victims and survivors of domestic violence with the resources they need to identify, escape, and heal from abuse. If you aren't sure where to turn, we're here to help you feel safe again, wherever you are on your journey. Please visit us at domesticshelters.org.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to be with you all today. I am enjoying so much seeing the chat light up with everyone sharing where they're from and what organization they work with. It's so wonderful to know that we're able to create these spaces where we can all get together and learn and just help support one another. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. My name is Ashley Rumschlag. I am the National Director of domesticshelters.org, which is a program of Alliance for Hope International. I am joined today by Hannah Craig, our Director of Content, as well as Rachel Myers, our Senior Digital Services Specialist. They're going to be helping out to monitor the chat today. So please help them out by putting your questions in the Q&A and leaving the chat for connecting with one another. domesticshelters.org is so proud to be a part of the Alliance for Hope International. I do apologize. We have an image that is just not wanting to cooperate today, but that's okay. Wanting to just highlight all of those programs here. So the Family Justice Center Alliance, the Training Institute on Strangulation Prevention, Camp Hope America, domesticshelters.org. The logo that is not showing up right now is for our Voices committees, which is a group of ways that we allow different survivors to impact their communities and connect with one another. And then finally, the Justice Project, which is our newest project. Highly encourage you to go to allianceforhope.org and check out more information about each of those programs. We are just so excited today to welcome Carrie Ann Gwynn, our Skill Forward project coordinator, as well as Ken Shetter, the National Director of the Family Justice Center Alliance. They're going to be joining us shortly to discuss empowering survivors through online learning, specifically our Verizon Skill Forward partnership with Verizon and edX. But before we begin, I want to dive into some housekeeping items. And also, let's just be really, really clear who this program is for. The Verizon Skill Forward program through edX is only available to the United States residents, so U.S. residents over the 17 and older. So as much as we would love to be able to share this around the world with everyone joining today, it is only available to US residents. But we really wanted to join here today because we are finding feedback that not everyone knows about this program. So we are so excited that you all have decided to show up today to learn more about this program and how it can uplift you in your life, but also the people that you serve. So stay tuned. I'm going to leave you on the edge of your seats there for that one. But I do just want to share a couple housekeeping items. So we are offering live closed captions throughout this webinar. To enable, please click Show Captions. We will also create a transcript of the presentation and share that within 1 week. We are in a Zoom webinar format, so all attendees are in listen-only mode. Please make sure, as I mentioned before, put your questions in the Q&A section. That chat moves by really, really quickly, so if those questions can get lost there. But we do encourage you to use chat to connect with other attendees. Within 1 week of the presentation, we try to get it a little bit sooner. We will send a certificate of attendance, that transcript I mentioned, a webinar playback recording, as well as the slides from today's presentation, and any additional resources that we mentioned. We'll make sure that you get those in your inbox within 1 week. And just a couple of reminders. The Family Justice Center Alliance International Family Justice Center Conference is going to take place in San Diego on April 29th through May 1st in sunny San Diego. If you have not already registered, we really encourage you to join us in San Diego. We're going to have an amazing lineup of sessions. Domesticshelters.org is putting on a track where we're going to talk about online engagement. We have a great panel on restorative justice. We're also going to bring in some survivor and a therapist to talk about post-separation abuse. The list goes on and on. So we'll drop a link in the chat to that event so you can learn more about the upcoming conference. And then we also have Hope Chat. So if you visited domesticshelters.org in the last couple of months, you will have seen Hope Chat pop up. And that is our 24/7 AI assistant. So it's not designed to replace advocates, but what it is designed to do is kind of act as an intermediary, right? So you go to domesticshelters.org, there are thousands of pages you can go through, so much information there. So we designed Hope Chat to help people find that information more quickly. And what we're finding is people are finding you all through that Hope Chat. So what they're doing is they are typing in their zip code and they are finding your organization, and Hope Chat is explaining to them what a domestic violence program does to support them and encouraging them to reach out for help, because so many people are, as you know, very hesitant to make that first step. So we hope that you'll take a moment to interact with Hope Chat and give us any feedback that you have. This is something that we are going to continue to make better and better, and we hope that you'll help us do that. All right, so let's do a quick introduction to share who we have with us today. Carrie Ann Gwynn Johansson is, like I said, our Verizon Skill Forward project coordinator. Carrie Ann has a very unique background, rooted in supporting trauma survivors, both adults and children, through her work as the former Camp Hope America founding director, as well as writing curriculum. Additionally, Carrie Ann is a certified yoga teacher and functional nutritional therapy practitioner. She has a passion for helping women reconnect with their bodies in a loving, positive way. She loves to empower people from all walks of life to change the way that they think of themselves so that they can pursue their dreams and build a life that they love. Ken Shetter is the National Director of the Family Justice Center Alliance. Ken earned a BS in Education from Baylor University and MA in Applied Sociology from the American University, where he was a Dean Scholar and Sociology Department Fellow, as well as a JD from Baylor Law School. In addition to his role as the mayor of Burleson, Texas, Ken became the first executive director of the Safe City Commission in Tarrant County, which collaborated with dozens of other agencies to build and operate the Family Justice Center One Safe Place in Fort Worth, Texas, which is the largest family justice center in Texas. So with that, let's get started with Carrie Ann. Ken is going to join us later on. Welcome, Carrie Ann. So glad to be with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such a pleasure. As Ashley mentioned, my work with the Alliance and survivors goes really, really far back. And my work with survivors actually goes even farther back into my childhood, volunteering at local YWCAs as a kid, And I've had such a privilege of working with Camp Hope America kids, and directing that program was such a privilege to me. And then, yeah, becoming a certified yoga teacher and a functional nutritional therapy practitioner after I graduated from college. Whole person well-being is my jam. I absolutely love it. When it comes to learning, though, I feel like we are really getting it wrong. So I want to paint a picture. That's me when I was in first grade. So you show up to school as a kid, you're required to sit at a desk, which is already a challenge for a kid. And then you're supposed to learn at a standardized pace in a standardized way and have very little outdoor or indoor movement. You don't have anybody asking you questions about how you feel about learning or how your brain works best. And it's so unlikely to have someone cheering you on, empowering you to believe in yourself. One of my most prominent educational experiences was in Mr. Solo's fifth grade class. I was sitting at my desk listening to a math lesson. My hands were folded, and it was those desks where the top can look clean, but there's the compartment on the bottom. Mine was an absolute disaster. And I'm just looking at my teacher, smiling and nodding, and I looked like such a good student. I was attentive, I was engaged, I was hearing chitter chatter from other students, the crumpling of paper, these chatty Cathys in the background. But I got to a point where all of that went silent, and the only thing that I could hear were the thoughts inside my mind swirling around in a wild way, thinking, what in the world is he talking about? Why does everybody else understand what's going on and I don't? What is wrong with me? And I wonder if you can relate to that. This educational experience became a little trauma for me. To this day, I still get triggered occasionally by lack of comprehension, and it's as though I teleport right back into Mr. Solo's fifth grade classroom. I didn't fit into the box, and nobody noticed. So fast forward to high school, I'm working my tail off. I had to work so much harder than my peers and to get significantly worse grades than them. But I made it. I figured out how to do it. I figured out I needed to move my body when I was learning. I needed to have one-on-one support. I had two teachers that were so amazingly supportive of my educational journey, and my challenges blended into college too. I sat in a communications class every 30 seconds. I was having to refocus myself on what was happening in this classroom, and I would have no idea what my professor was lecturing on. I felt crazy. I had no idea what was wrong with me. But then I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 27, and it changed absolutely everything for me. All of the experiences I had in school of not being able to know what was going on, shaking my legs under the table incessantly, it all made sense. And I wondered, why did no one catch this? Because all these signs were here. And the thing was, at this point, I had already very much adopted this deep-seated belief in my soul that everybody else was smarter than me. And I have battled feelings of being less than for my whole entire life because of those experiences. Until I started working with a coach and I was supported in trying new things, in learning in different ways, in understanding the way that my brain worked. And the reason that I share all this is to say that we know education and learning, it is not a simple thing. You are more than a brain, and so am I. And when you bring any type of trauma, big T or little t, onto the scene, it gets even more complicated. So whether we've inflicted these negative beliefs upon ourselves, or someone else has told you that you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, etc., it sticks. And if that is you, if you can relate to this narrative and this experience, I want you to know that I see you. And at Verizon Skill Forward, we see you. So let's talk about what the problem is when it comes to adults in education. First of all, education is so expensive. Can I get an amen? The financial cost alone is often a significant barrier, but more importantly, so many survivors have not been able to afford to go back to school because they are at the mercy of a merciless abuser that has controlled finances, social activities, time, education, and then you mix in raising kids and you've got the perfect storm to leave survivors feeling incompetent and unable to enter the workforce. Many survivors are in this place of not knowing what they want to learn about, not knowing where to start, and possibly even not knowing how to learn as an adult. And going through it alone is even more of an uphill battle. And the thought of taking out a loan to go back to school and try and figure out what you want to do can feel downright unwise. It can feel frivolous. Like, why would I pay thousands of dollars when I don't even know what I want to do? On top of that, most of the learners in our program that I've had the privilege of meeting with are untangling deep seated beliefs of inadequacy and incompetency. The roots of the I'm not smart enough weed go so deep down. And if any of you have ever done some weeding in your backyard, you see a dandelion and you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. And then you try to dig it out and you realize that taproot goes extremely deep. That is what these negative beliefs do in our minds. And it is so hard to get rid of them. And you know what is really wild is that even if you did go to college, the world is changing insanely fast thanks to technology and artificial intelligence. And technology has become a solution to so many problems, but it has also created its own sub problems as a result. So it's kind of like taking a pharmaceutical drug that helps you with one issue, but then it causes all these side effects that you also need to manage with more pharmaceutical drugs. So what is a person to do? The overwhelm is real, but so is the solution. And I say the solution is real because when I dive fully into this program and you hear about it, you might be like, this is way too good to be true. We have gotten that feedback that, oh, I thought this was a scam. This is not a scam. So I want you to keep listening. This is when upskilling comes into play. So it used to be that you could go to college for 4 years and then you find a job and you work there for 40 years and then you happily retire. Well, that is not the case anymore. It is highly recommended to upskill at least every 4 years to remain relevant in the ever-changing workforce. And this is precisely why we are so excited to introduce you to the Verizon Skill Forward program. This is a program that Verizon has actually had available since 2020, but I'm guessing that you have never heard of it. And we actually hadn't either. The more people we talk to, the more people say, I had no idea Verizon was offering this for free. This is a professional skill building course. So if you were to merely Google it, you could sign up for free, but please keep listening because I have something so much better to share with you. So here's how this all works. Alliance for Hope International has a long-standing friendship with Verizon. Verizon has supported many of the Alliance's programs over the years, including Camp Hope America, and Verizon has been in partnership with edX since 2020. And edX was founded in 2012. This is a learning platform founded by Harvard and MIT to make learning more accessible to anyone and anyone everywhere. It's a learning platform where you can pay to take courses, you can pay to take standalone courses, or you can even do a full-on doctoral program online. While there are some courses on edX that are free, you do have to pay to earn a professional certificate. So here's the great news. We have a specially curated course list available to you and your mom, brother, dad, client, friend, whoever, and it is completely free. So let's think about the Skill Forward platform like a fancy restaurant. So when you go to a fancy restaurant, you've got your a la carte menu items. You can pick from this or that. With the Skill Forward program, there are hundreds of a la carte courses that you could take. But you can also choose to do something more like a tasting menu, which in these fancy restaurants, a tasting menu, the menu is set. You know, my first course is this, my second course is this, my third course is this. So that's what these professional certificate programs are like. And at the time of this recording, there are 123 programs and they are getting updated on a regular basis. There will be more programs added regularly. The Skill Forward platform is like this. You've got your individual courses and you can get a certificate of completion, but when it comes to a professional certificate program, there will be 2 or more courses that are bundled together. For instance, one of our favorites to recommend is the Leadership and Communication Professional Certificate Program from Harvard that's pictured on the slide. With this program, you take 2 courses, Exercising Leadership Foundational Principles and The Art of Persuasive Writing and Public Speaking. So once you finish these 2 courses and of course pass, you have earned a professional certificate. Yay! You can use this certificate on your resume to negotiate a raise or even start a new pivot into a different career, to look for a new job. And we do want to make sure that you understand, though, that these are skill building courses. And even though these professional certificate courses are from institutions and universities like Harvard, IBM, Dartmouth, these are not college degrees. So let's just be clear on that. These certificates hold weight, and they show that you are committing your time and energy to continuing to learn and to pursue personal and professional growth. They are from reputable universities, but they are not worth college credit, so you can't transfer to a university with these certificates. In addition to having all of these programs at your fingertips for free, you also have the opportunity to be a part of our private Facebook group of learners and survivors, get our weekly newsletter where we are sharing mindfulness practices, mindset shifts, and other helpful announcements, webinar announcements. We're also hosting monthly webinars on topics like goal setting, the science of hope, how nervous system regulation connects to learning, and so much more. Because like I shared at the beginning of this call about my own educational journey, learning is not just about listening to a lecture or passing a test. It is about understanding your mind, understanding how you learn, and really cultivating a life that is conducive to learning. And that is where the magic happens. That is where life change happens. And that's what we are after. That's why we're doing this program, because we don't want to just have you take a course. We want to support you through it and help you move forward in your career. Because let's be honest, life after trauma, life as a survivor, life as a single parent, life as a widow, it is much more complex than our school age days, isn't it? We want to support you as a whole person. And with the Verizon Skill Forward program, we get to do just that. So as part of our program, you also have access to one-on-one coaching calls with me. Whether you need a sounding board, a cheerleader, someone to strategize time management with you, I am your gal. It is such a privilege for me to get to walk alongside survivors that are really grabbing the bull by the horns when it comes to life and making moves toward creating a future that they feel good about and that they feel proud of. This is so much more than here's your link to the learning platform. We are here for you every single step of the way. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. Sounds like an infomercial, right? I want to show you a testimonial from one of our learners named Lou. She has dived in head first and is reaping the benefits of this program.
My name's Lou. Right now, I'm in a very transitional space. I've kind of had to open myself up very, very quickly to what exists out there now in the job market. I was thrown into something that I've always wanted to be in, which is a position of leadership. There were a lot of skills that I needed to really pick up at the time. Those management courses have just been so important for me in like a very practical sense. But what I was really missing was like a sense of hope. Like there's something that I'm building towards. With the skill forward, it's rebuilt that sense that I can learn these skills. I can build up what I have to create something new. It put me in a good place. It gave me a direction, just get connected. And there's just so many opportunities for that.
I love Lou's story so much because she came upon this program when she needed it desperately and was in this knowledge gap and this skills gap. And because of the Skill Forward program, she has been able to pursue professional certificates in topics that are completely relevant to what she is doing in her work right now. And I've gotten to walk through some challenges with her in our coaching sessions where she's told me how she's utilized what she's learning in the courses in her work right now. It is absolutely amazing. It's such a gift to be able to walk through this with people. Lou also is one of the members of our advisory committee. So this is actually a pilot program. We have never done this before. Verizon has never had partners like us before because like I said, they've had this program for a long time and they essentially realized, gosh, we're offering this to people, but nobody's taking advantage of it. They're not getting through it. How do we help them get through it? This is such a great resource. So we get to be one of their partners and they basically said, Do this however you want. And so we are getting to build this pilot program that supports people from the ground up. Like I said, we're not just saying, oh, go take a course, good luck. We're like, we also want to offer you coaching. We also want to help you develop a positive mindset and better self-talk. There's so much that you get from being involved in this program. And the advisory committee, we had so many applicants. It was incredibly challenging to boil it down to 4 people, but it just goes to show that this program is needed. People need professional certificates. They need online learning. They need skill building, and we are able to offer that completely for free. It's absolutely wild. So let's walk through the process of actually creating your Skill Forward account. So what we're going to do is in the chat, you are going to see an interest form. This interest form is for our internal use only. Without this interest form, we would have no idea who is in our program at this point. So we get some information from you so that I can personally reach out to you, welcome you to the program. And you're going to fill out just a tiny little bit. It takes less than 1 minute. All of the information is confidential. Once you submit that, then what you're going to get is a welcome email. The welcome email is all hype. It's like, yes, you did it. We're so proud of you, because that's the energy that we want in this program. We want you to feel like, even if you never schedule a coaching call, even if you never join the Facebook group, the vibe of all of this is positive, it's empowering, it's hope-centered, it's hope-filled. So you will get this welcome email celebrating this big step that you've taken. In it is this exact link that is circled, and that is the link that you're going to use to create your Skill Forward edX account. Once you click on that link, it is going to take you to this page where you get started. You're filling out a little bit more info. So first you're giving us info as the Alliance, Domestic Shelters, Skill Forward. Then it's going through Verizon and edX. And this takes literally less than 2 minutes. I just did it all again last night just to make sure that I'm giving you an accurate time estimate. And once you do that, then you're going to receive a couple emails from Skill Forward edX that will be on the next slide. And you'll confirm your account. You've got everything you need here. You're going to activate your license, accept your invitation, and then you did it. Yay! We're just entering in some tiny info, name, email, creating some sort of a username, and then you're in the platform. And as you'll see on the right-hand side, there is a little button that says Find a Course. That is the course, or that is the button that you're going to use to search for anything that you need. All right, we can go to the next slide, Ashley. So I want to take a look at specifically leadership content. That has been a really popular topic for our learners, partly because so many people are already in leadership positions or desire to be and need to grow some skills in that area. But let's look at this. So on the left-hand side, you see programs. On the right-hand side, you see courses. This is where that a la carte versus tasting menu comes in. You can just take standalone courses, and that matters, and it's great. But you also can click on programs, and you can see leadership and communication. This is a Harvard course that you are getting access to completely for free. It's pretty wild. So that's the difference between those two things. The professional certificate is going to hold a little bit more weight. However, it also will have 2 or more courses that are bundled together to create that program. All right, we can go to the next slide. So this is one of the examples. So we're looking at, this is a course, Exercising Leadership Foundational Principles. You would take that one course, you click the button to enroll, and it's going to pop up on your dashboard. You can see your progress. This is all self-paced. So a lot of people have said, oh, well, when are the classes? I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it work with my schedule. You could do this while you're getting your oil changed. You can do this anytime when you're sitting in the pickup line, waiting for your kids. There are so many opportunities and windows of time in your life that you can fit this into. And if you don't think you have time, I lovingly dare you to open your screen time on your settings on your phone and see how much time you're spending on Netflix or on TikTok or on Instagram. I promise you that you have time. And like I said to our learners yesterday in our advisory committee call, I said, this is inertia. An object in motion stays in motion. So even if you only have 15 minutes when you're getting your oil changed or whatever, knowing that you can spend those 15 minutes doing your coursework is going to inspire you to continue doing more. That's just the way that it works. It's all about getting started. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you see courses in this program. These are the courses in that Harvard Professional Certificate Program for Leadership. And it's got 2 skill building courses. You progress at your own speed. And edX is extremely generous in what their time estimations are. I did hear of one of our learners who completed a full course in 3 hours that said it was going to take her several weeks. So if you're focused and dedicated and you're a fast learner, you can go through this as quickly as you want. All right, next. So one of the things that I feel is even an added benefit is on the edX platform, they have an unbelievable amount of resources. So even just on this page, you can browse by industry and you can see I'm interested in communication or tech or project management. You can look at different virtual events that are being hosted, guides and templates, job board. There are so many resources at your fingertips. It is incredibly wild. On the next slide, you're going to see a little bit more about exactly what those resources are. So here we're into guides and templates. So on the left-hand side, you see there's a guide for a cover letter, a template on how to write it, a workshop guide, brand statement, interviewing tips, like everything that you could possibly need for the job search, for negotiating a raise. It is all here. In addition to that, there is also a job board on the edX website. So what that means is that the people, the organizations, the companies that are posting jobs on this job board, they already believe in edX. They already trust these professional certificate programs. And when they see that, let's say you've stacked up a bunch of cybersecurity professional certificates or whatever it may be, they recognize that as being, that holds weight, that's legit, that means something to them. And I love that so much because we want to know that our time is going to be this is a useful use of your time. All right, next slide, please. So let's go into the frequently asked questions. These are questions that we get a lot. The number one thing is, who is this program even for? Because we're casting a really wide net. While we are primarily serving survivors of domestic violence who are in need of professional skill building, so think frontline workers who've become somewhat irrelevant in their field because of the tech boom, or anyone and everyone who's wanting to grow skills, pivot careers, etc. This is for you. You are more than welcome to share this with anyone that you want. You can share it within your organization. You could gather a friend group if you're like, I don't want to do this with a bunch of strangers through Skill Forward. I want to do it with my friends. So you can send the info to them. As long as you are 17 or older and a US resident, this is for you. And then what is the timeline? So from the time that you create your Skill Forward edX account, you have access to all of this learning for 1 year. You can enroll in as many courses as you want. You can unenroll in as many courses as you want. That's the beauty of this, is that we were talking earlier about what if you were to just take out a loan and go back to school and try and figure out what you want to do. You're going to be spending thousands and thousands of dollars doing something like that. With Skill Forward, you can get exposure to all of these different fields and topics and subjects completely for free. If you've always been curious about AI, maybe because you like it or maybe because you're freaked out by it, you could try an AI course and see if this is something that you want to pursue. And if it's not, you have not wasted any money. You have only gained the knowledge that this either is for me or this isn't for me. So what I can say though is we have received a grant to be able to support people to go through this program. Our grant period is through May 15th. Our goal is to continue with this program as long as possible, but as many of you know, when you're dealing with grants, we are at the mercy of our funders. So the more participation that we get now, the more likely we are to be able to continue offering this program and all the other services, Facebook group, webinars, coaching, all of that for free. So for these first couple months, we are offering private Facebook group with encouragement, tips, tricks. There are 4 scheduled posts a week where we're talking through mindfulness. We're learning about how to celebrate our wins. One of the concepts that we are integrating into this program is from the book, The Gap and the Gain. So this is an entrepreneurial mindset book. However, there are so many applications of it for learning. And I want to share this with you because this is a huge thread of what we're doing without even calling it that necessarily. But in this concept, the idea is that in any given moment, you are either in the gap or the gain. You are measuring yourself based on where you are. And usually we're looking at where we want to be and we're seeing all the space between me and my career goals. And all I see is gap, like, oh, I haven't got that certificate yet. I'm not making the amount of money I want to. I'm not as gainfully employed as I would like to be. That causes stress in the body, right? Even talking about it out loud, I feel a little bit like, oh no, we're all behind. But when you stay in the gain, you are actually always measuring backwards. So that is a huge part of why we talk about wins in our program, because especially with survivors, we want to look back at where we started and be able to say, oh my gosh, from where I started to where I am, I have gained, I have grown, I have made progress. And when we are able to help our learners do that, they're so much more likely to continue taking steps forward. So these are the types of things that you get in our Facebook group, in our weekly newsletter. We are also doing these monthly deep dive calls, and they have been so invaluable for our learners on a personal level. I mean, the Science of Hope call that we did with Casey Gwynn, everyone walked away from it feeling so empowered and so inspired. It was amazing. And this is the holistic learning that we're talking about. Like, we need to increase hope. The Science of Hope is absolutely integral to what we are doing in Skill Forward, because if you know anything about the Science of Hope, you know that it's basically a triangle. You've got goal setting at the top, and then you have agency and pathway, or willpower and way power. We are integrating that into our program on a regular basis. And that is the way that we help people achieve goals and move forward. Then we've also got one-on-one coaching. And just for kicks, I consulted the internet to see, what is the hourly rate for coaching? What is this value really worth? These 50-minute sessions could realistically be invoiced anywhere from $100 to $250 an hour. And our learners are getting them for free. Someone to support them, someone to listen to them, someone to help them come up with creative ideas about how to study, how to build a schedule, how to fit this into your life. And you get that completely for free. It is so wild. And then we haven't even talked about this exciting part yet. We know that life is busy. You have so much going on. Your clients have so much going on. Every survivor, every person in the world has so much going on. And yes, it is amazing to give you access to free skill building courses, free coaching, but we wanted to make it even better because we know that your time is valuable. It is so fleeting, and we want you to know that we're cheering you on. So every week, when you complete a course, your first course, you can enter into our $500 raffle. And yes, I did say $500 for completing a course that is free, because that's how much we want to sweeten the pot. And we want you to know that your time matters, your investment matters, and we're cheering you on the whole way. If this means that you can pay for a babysitter, or you can buy groceries for a week, or put gas in your car, whatever, we want you to know that you're supported in a wraparound sort of way. So you might be thinking, oh my gosh, how can I get this program out to as many people as quickly and effectively as possible? So luckily for us, we have Ken Shutter on the call with us. As Ashley mentioned, Ken is the National Family Justice Center Alliance Director and the president of One Safe Place in Fort Worth. Ken, we're so excited to hear from you, because your boots on the ground, exactly how our programs and organizations can leverage this to support survivors. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you, Carrie Ann. I am excited to be here. And I just want to begin. So, and I just want to highlight my dual role in addition to working for the Alliance for Hope and the National Family Justice Center Alliance. And our team is the one that provides technical assistance to family justice centers around the country. I also just wanted to note again, as Carrie Ann said, I also am the president of One Safe Place in Fort Worth, Texas, where we do operate a large family justice center. and we see thousands of clients over the years, and so we are dealing with the same issues that all of you or most of you on this call are. So I just want to set the stage by talking a little bit about why I think Skills Forward is so important. And so here are some statistics I gathered that reflect the work that we are seeing day to day and that we have seen for years. So first of all, according to the NCADV, abusers are controlling access to employment and committing other kinds of financial abuse as part of their power and control and abuse of their victims in 99% of abusive relationships. And so we know that is just a huge part of the cycle of power and control that victims go through, that there are years and years and years of controlling the ability of victims to be able to support themselves financially. In 2020, there was a report from the Center for Survivor Agency and Justice that survivors with limited work experience, and you all know this, are 350% or 3.5 times more likely to return to their abuser due to financial instability. A 2021 report from the Women's Policy Institute for Women's Policy Research indicated that 48% of survivors lack the necessary job skills for stable employment. I will tell you that our numbers at One Safe Place have been higher than that. I think something like 75% of the clients we see from year to year are either unemployed or underemployed. Their income is severely restricted and they have an inability to support themselves. And remember, it's not just about a survivor's ability to support themselves, but it often, for us, a majority of the time, is also about a survivor's ability to support themselves and their kids. So, in addition to this financial control in the traditional way that we think about it, and the ability to get a job, to gain the skills to get a job, what abusers hold over the heads of their victims is the ability to support their kids. So we know that one of the things that keeps victims in dangerous relationships is concern about their ability to get the custody of their kids if they go into family court, because they have a real legitimate, rational concern that they're going to go into court and their abuser is going to have a much easier time proving that they are capable of supporting the kids where the victim may not be. So that there are a lot of layers to this ability to support oneself for survivors. And then I think important for us at the Alliance and for those of us in the Family Justice Center movement is that providing the skills training is part of creating pathways, which, as Carrie Ann was just sort of alluding to, is half of the work that we have to do to create a sense of hopefulness in our survivors. And so we know that once we are able to address those immediate concerns around safety and a place to stay and food to eat, that long term we have to really be working on creating hopefulness, because that thousands of studies have revealed to us creating hopefulness in both adults and children's lives is the key to overcoming trauma, experiencing well-being, and experiencing resilience. So we talk a lot about creating pathways forward and what that looks like, but this kind of skills training and skills building is a very specific way that we can work on pathways that increase hopefulness and resilience in our clients. So I'm going to speak specifically to those of you who are part of family justice centers, because that's the world that I know. That's the kind of advocacy that I know. But I think these things are also directly relevant to anybody that's out there providing services to survivors. So here are some of the things I think that you need to think about doing within your organizations to promote the Verizon Skill Forward program. So first of all, we have to make sure that the advocates on our teams are really well versed in Skill Forward, how it works, what it looks like, what kind of opportunity it creates. And then during your intake and case management processes, your advocates know to look for, to ask questions that are going to lead to a better understanding of the need for career and job training, and that will give them an opportunity to promote skill forward. And obviously, it's helpful if you have the skill forward printed promotional materials available to you handy right there when and where you're doing the intake. So I think it's important that every person that has contact with survivors or clients is knowledgeable enough about the program to be able to share enough details that would help a survivor make the connection, get connected, get registered. And I think it's also important that you are including information about Skill Forward in all of your outgoing engagement materials, including newsletters, constant contacts, MailChimp, kinds of engagement, and also your social media content. So I know here at One Safe Place, we are constantly in our social media engagement, we are targeting certain populations in the community with very specific information so that we're educating people that might benefit from being clients of our organization about the kinds of services that are available here. So I think, engaging the community through social media, particularly if you're able to do some any level of targeting of particular populations, but to let them know that you are able to offer and connect clients with this job training, skills training. I think that it's a benefit to you and your organization in attracting clients, but you're also helping to educate clients about the kinds of things that can move them forward. And then finally, just keep in mind and never miss an opportunity to reiterate to the people you serve that this program is free to your clients. And then lastly, you see the word staff, clients and staff. So I just want to, for those of you that are leaders within your organization, highlight that this is a great opportunity to build up the skills of your teams, your staff members. And for those of you that are advocates, think of this as an opportunity to enhance your skills and share it with your colleagues. So anything we can do to improve leadership skills or just any kind of the day-to-day work skills that might benefit our organization. Training for professionals can be very expensive, and particularly right now when we're all worried about our funding in the nonprofit world in general, and specifically those of us that are doing work around domestic violence, any opportunity we have to enrich the skills of our staff members at no cost, I think is a tremendous opportunity. And it's interesting that right before Carrie Ann was talking about AI, I was actually thinking I want to go in and register for some skills forward training to help me better understand AI. So in addition to thinking about your advocacy team, I know one of the things I'm always thinking about is the team that I have that is doing our development work and grant writing and helping get them connected with some training that would help them figure out the best, most effective way to use AI. So I think I just want to plug this for a second because I think one of the things that is happening, I know here at One Safe Place on our team, and then amongst a lot of sort of professionals is that we are just now starting to really use AI, but we're not necessarily using it most effectively. And I think sometimes they're using it in a way that is counterproductive, or even worse, in a way that might get us embarrassed as an organization. So I think in particular, this opportunity to have some free training for your staff around how to effectively and appropriately use AI, I think it's a great opportunity for all of us who are in leadership and organizations. So I just want to reiterate, we know that this either lack of skills and training, lack of work experience, is one of the things that is forcing survivors in huge numbers back into dangerous relationships, or it's putting them in a position where they never feel empowered to leave those relationships to begin with. And they have been conditioned to think that they don't have any choices, that they don't have the resources it takes to build the skills to make them more marketable in the marketplace. So we as advocates, one of the most important things we can do is undo that conditioning that abusers have done very methodically as part of their power and control efforts. So I think this is a great tool in terms of really connecting survivors with the sources they need, giving them the confidence and empowering them to feel confident about taking the steps they need to be independent and safe. So thanks, Ashley and Carrie Ann, for giving me the opportunity to share and kind of just think specifically about how this is helpful to us as advocates.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ken. This has been great. All right, so we're welcome Carrie Ann back as well. Really quickly, as Ken, you were talking, I thought, well, let's do a quick poll. I changed this up, Carrie Ann, so I'm throwing a curveball in here to see how many people are really like seeing this as an opportunity. So our first question is, are you going to take a Skill Forward course? Yes, no, or maybe. And then the second question is, are you going to share Verizon Skill Forward with clients, team members, family members, or friends? Yes, no, or maybe. So, okay, I like the maybes, maybe the Q&A questions, maybe there's just some questions that we have to answer to get you to go to yes. But just really wanted to see if what we were saying is landing, and I'm so glad to see that it is. Yes, so getting a lot of yeses, more maybes than I would like, but lots and lots of yeses. So thank you for everyone for chiming in there. Well, let's transition over to Q&A. Oh, let's share the results so everyone can see those of you that are missing out. So lots of yeses. And make sure we have all the questions answered, because that's the biggest thing with this pilot program. We don't know what we know that we don't know that you know. Is that how it goes? You know, we don't know what we're missing to tell you. So I'm going to transition over. Hannah and Rachel have been collecting questions. And let me just kind of zero in on these. Carrie, I know you went through step by step, and it's going to be everything that we talked about today is recorded. So you can go back and rewatch the sign up process. But maybe if you could just go through and just really quickly make sure people know, where's that point of entry? How do you get started with Verizon Skill Forward?
Okay, so for yourself, your first point of entry is to fill out the interest form. And if we can share that again in the chat, that would be amazing. The more times, the better. This is such an engaging group, so the chat's going nuts. But the first thing is to fill out the interest form. Once you submit that, you receive a welcome email from me. Yay, you did it. We're celebrating you. Once you create your Skill Forward edX account with the link in that email, you're kind of doing a little bit of ping pong. We apologize for that, but we want to be able to know exactly who is in this program so that we can reach out to you in a very personal way and support you. So once you do that little back and forth of interest form, create your account, get the email from edX, then you're in, you're doing it. You're finding a course and you're ready to go. That's the simple process.
Exactly. And that's exactly how you would walk a client through it as well, right? So if you're doing that yourself, it's the same process. You just need to get them to that interest form link, and it'll all make sense. They'll start getting emails that will lead them to the next step. So it's all very intuitive. But if you need more help, just go back to this recording and rewatch that section.
And I actually do want to add something. I've had this experience with a lot of people who are on the fence. I completely get it. You don't exactly know what this is going to be like once you're in the program. I want to remind you that there is absolutely zero risk in you starting this. You're not paying any money. We're not going to sell your information to anybody. There's zero risk. This is just, you could just view it as, I'm curious about this and I want to learn more. And then as far as it goes with supporting survivors and clients, if you have, let's say, a computer lab in your organization, or you have a computer that you can allow a client to use, you can walk through this process with them. In my Zoom calls with people who are on the fence, when we walk through the process together, they're so much more likely to actually take advantage of this, because otherwise my brain says, this is new is overwhelming, I'm not going to do it. But if you're holding their hand through the process, that is the way to go.
One thing people are seeing is some places where it's asking for payment. So a few questions of people signing up now and seeing a payment section. How can we make sure that they sign up for free?
The number one thing that I would first say is, if you are seeing something for payment, you may have gone to edx.org. Actually, if we have, well, no, I'm sorry. I'm rewinding my brain because I wanted to share the login page, but we want you to create your account with our link first. That's how you become a part of our program. So if you are seeing something about payment, you probably went to the wrong site. But if you are on the Skill Forward and you see Verizon edX in the top corner and you're still seeing things about payment, you can ignore it. As I mentioned, this is a pilot program, so we're navigating some tech things that we don't have full control over, and even Verizon doesn't. So when you see that type of thing, let me know. My email is skillforward@allianceforhope.com. Any of those user experience issues can come to me, and I submit them to Verizon to go to edX. So we're always giving feedback, and we want yours as well. But this is all free. Never put in payment information if you're asked, and always check to see if you're in the correct place. Okay, so I'm seeing that you say you are on Verizon edX. If you can take a screenshot and send it to me, that would be amazing, because you do not have to pay for this a penny, nothing. It's all free.
And just reiterating the languages that are available, English, Spanish, and what was the third?
I have seen English, Spanish, Arabic, Russian, Indonesian. Every course is different because the course creator is different. So there are some courses that are fully in Spanish. I think there are about 15 that is the original language of the course. But other than that, you can translate the transcripts as well as the written content on the course material into the languages available.
Excellent. And people are asking about, how do they get the printed materials? We
Great
have a
question.
Yes, so we're going to drop that link in the chat. That is how you request those. Carrie Ann is going to package those at our kitchen table and send
I
them
have
out.
so many.
Yeah, so we're gonna clear our house, so you can please request those. Those are going to be a great way, entryway for you to bring that up with your clients. Printed information. You can apply for as many professional certificates as you want. There is no limit, people. So just go and learn, and watch how your career can take off with that knowledge. We had someone mention immigration status. What I'll say to that, I said yes, but the answer is really, it's for US residents, right? So if you reside in the United States, you need a US address to sign up. So that is the best way to address that question. Certificates are free, yes. So yeah, we talked about that paid option. If you keep seeing it, email Carrie Ann at Skill Forward, skillforward@allianceforhope.com. What happens after the 1-year time frame, Carrie Ann?
I will totally answer that. After the 1-year time frame, if you were, let's say, a week away from finishing a professional certificate program, sadly, you would have to pay for that professional certificate, but you would still have access to the course. What I will say, though, is that remember, for our grant, what we are able to offer in support of your learning process goes at this time through May 15th. So if you can hustle muscle, it will be worthwhile for you. We are very hopeful that we'll be able to offer this again, but we can't guarantee it at this point. So go quick, don't delay. But yeah, after that year, you will have to pay for the professional certificate courses.
Thank you. And then the certificates do not need to be renewed because essentially what it is you get, once you're done, you get that knowledge. You could take a new certificate, but there's no like renewal process or anything because it's not really a certification, if you will. It's a certificate. I know that can be kind of our last question that we have written out there, because I want to save time for the big announcement of how everyone here could win $500, right?
Yes.
The last question is for Ken. So in addition to doing advocate work, I run a domestic abuse transformation program, which is essentially a group of abusers. I know that you said to invite everyone, but do you feel it would be appropriate to send this link to them as well? I worry about that having access to conversations that are kind of aimed towards victims for this program, but on the other hand, it could be beneficial to them. I guess this could be for Carrie Ann as well, but Ken, what are your thoughts?
I would say from my perspective, and you know, at One Safe Place, particularly on site here, we only serve survivors or victims, and we don't even allow perpetrators on site because we want to create a completely safe space where survivors, where they know they're going to be safe when they are here with us. But I do think it's important that we are all thinking about how we are able to provide for perpetrators as well, particularly because so many victims want their perpetrators to receive services. So I don't have any problem at all with perpetrators signing up for this. And because and Carrie Ann can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we are not, we would not put a perpetrator in a group with survivors or victims, say. So I don't think there's any risk of having any kind of sort of inappropriate interactions that would happen through the program. So I have no problem at all and think it's actually a good idea that if you are serving perpetrators, that you make this available to them as well.
I do have one more thought on that, just off the cuff here. If you do serve perpetrators and you're wondering about this, I would love for you to email me, because what we can do to give perpetrators access to this learning platform is we can actually skip over the interest form and the Facebook group and all that stuff. So we can give them access to the learning platform while still protecting survivors within our sphere. Does that sound like a good call, Ashley?
Yeah, essentially bypassing all the times when we're bringing survivors together. We're just saying, yes, you can use this platform, but we're not going to, have you in webinars and we're not going to, because these
Right.
are spaces that we want them to feel safe. So yeah, I think because that is kind of a fringe case. If you want to just reach out to Carrie Ann directly, and we'll make sure that they can be supported. Really quickly, Carrie Ann, if you want to talk about how people can win $500, and then we'll struggle in some more questions as we pass the time.
I love talking about how people can win $500. So what we are offering for this group specifically is anybody who signs up and just fills out the interest form between now and Friday, you are going to be entered into your own special $500 raffle. So just by filling out the interest form, on Friday, we're going to pull a raffle winner to win $500. It's pretty amazing. It's available to the attendees of this webinar and people who listen to it afterwards. But that's how you could win $500. But don't worry, even if you win the $500, you still will be eligible for our course completion raffle. So hypothetically, you could win $1,000. I mean, it's pretty amazing. It could be a life-changing amount of money.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Really quickly, I had a question I think it's important to address. The whole deadline thing of May 15th is very much tied to our grant participation. So coaching calls, Facebook group, all the wonderful things we're doing outside of Verizon Skill Forward will potentially end May 15th. So you've got about 2 months to learn and engage with us in that space. But once you sign up, you have an entire year from the time you activate to take courses, but you will kind of be on your own unless Verizon allows us to continue with this grant. So that is the best way, I think, to explain that. But with that, I know we are 1 minute over time, so I just want to wrap this up again. Challenge everyone to sign up and please complete a course. It what do you have to lose at this point, right? Learning is only going to improve your life. So thank you, Carrie Ann. Thank you, Ken. It's been a pleasure to spend this hour with you. And just a quick reminder that we will send a recording for everyone who wants to share this far and wide. We'll get that out to you as soon as possible, but no later than a week from now. We're going to share these slides, a certificate of attendance, a transcript, and we'll send that out, like I said, within a week from info@domesticshelters.org. And with that, we'll conclude today's presentation. Please, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful day and take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.